welcome to part 2 of task 1 of my assessment for music industry. For this one, we will be talking about cassette. Cassette was a new format. Like vinyl, you could listen to music, but it was a completely different format. Instead of listening to grooves in a disc, it was tape, going from one spool to another in a little box. And because it was smaller, it meant that it was portable. Portability was a huge development. Instead of just going home and listening to music to unwind or to have a good time, it was a completely new way of listening to music. There were two main ways you could listen to cassettes portably. You could listen on a Walkman, which was a sort of portable cassette player, or it was the first time you could really listen to music in cars. It was like having a soundtrack to your life. You could choose what you wanted playing, when you wanted playing it, and wherever you wanted to play it. Now, that was huge, because not only was it portable, but you had a choice. You had a choice of what music you wanted to listen to. Yes, you had that with jukeboxes in diners, but this was personal. It was only you, not everybody else in the diner getting to choose a song. It was personal. Maybe one of the first times that it was properly personal. Yes, you could own your own vinyls, but that was an entire album. What revolutionized cassettes was that you could sort of make your own. This choice and the way cassette tapes were made means you could make things called mixtapes. Mixtapes were either used as a way to get certain songs you like from an album, or get a bunch of songs that remind you of a certain mood or a certain feeling you want to feel, and putting it all together into one cassette. A neat little thing that you could take with you anywhere. You didn't have to listen to a full album anymore. You could just choose. It was effectively one of the first ways you could make your own playlist. People used to make mixtapes for each other. Like, I'm sure everybody has heard stories of their parents or somebody else in high school, when their parents were in high school, say that there was someone who had a crush on them, and so they made them a mixtape of all of the songs that reminded them of that person. It was an incredibly personal and amazing thing, because not only could you share your music and make a personal soundtrack to your life, you could bring people together and show your affection through music. I'm not sure you could really do that with an album, because each song means something completely different to different people. Someone could hear a song and think of someone they love, and someone else could hear it and think of something they hate. Music invokes different feelings for everyone, and this was a way of sharing those feelings. Maybe if you couldn't talk about them, you could show someone what you're feeling with music. Which leads to music sharing. Yes, it was an incredible thing, but it led to some bad things as well. Because, yes, you could make mixtapes and you could do all of this stuff, but in doing that, you could also plagiarize and you could fake things. You could take a vinyl record you own or a cassette that you own and record it onto a cassette and give it to someone who doesn't have the money for it. So you want them to listen to this album, but they don't have the money to buy the cassette themselves, so you duplicate it for them. That way the artist didn't get the revenue from that sale, but people are still getting it. This led to a huge uprising by artists that was called Home Taping is Killing Music. Now, obviously, music isn't dead. So it didn't kill music completely. But it was something people were genuinely worried about and is still a problem today. Music sharing is brilliant because you can share your feelings, you can share your music with anyone you want, friends, family, lovers, anyone. But then the artist doesn't get the revenue from that sale. This introduced something that no one could stop. Yes, there was Home Taping is Killing Music, where they tried to stop it, but it never worked. Still today, people will just give songs to people. They will just steal it. Illegal downloads, anything. And it's not good for artist revenue, but it's a big part of our history. Cassettes were supposed to be a brilliant way to have choice and to have a soundtrack to your life, to downsize the format of how you listen to music. But they probably didn't expect for all of this to come from it. Mixtapes were incredible, but home taping? That maybe was an unforeseeable bad note that came from it. And I don't think anyone will ever be able to stop it. So, you can see again how a simple format of music has changed the way the world works forever. We now have soundtracks to our life, and we now have threats against the music industry. But all we can do is be hopeful that soon enough, maybe artist revenue will get better, and maybe mixtapes will come back. Stay tuned for part 3.